Welcome back to Autism at Home. In this video, we're going to be talking about preventing behaviors before they even happen. Now let's recap the previous lessons in this unit on an introduction to managing challenging behaviors. We spoke about how there are two main categories for creating a comprehensive behavior plan. Proactive strategies, which includes having good teaching strategies, which we spoke about in the last video, and preventative strategies, which we're going to talk about in this video. And the second category of reactive strategies. Now remember the 90%, 10% rule? 90% of your energy should be spent on the proactive strategies and only 10% on reacting to the behaviors when they happen. Preventative strategy number 1. Simplify expectations. Now, if you're a parent, you would probably know best the situation your child is most likely to have a challenging behavior, like when you go out to the mall, or when they have to eat a specific food, or maybe having to wait too long for something. So while you're still working on the teaching strategies of teaching them the skill to cope better in these situations, simplifying the expectations in the meantime, not just for them, but also for yourselves. For example, imagine if you're going out to the mall. Try going to the mall during off-peak hours so that you spend less time in a traffic jam, less time waiting for car park, lining up at the restaurant, or waiting for a meal. In some cases, you could even pre-book the restaurant. When you're at the restaurant, perhaps your spouse could order the food while you take your child for a quick walk and come back just in time to eat. Some malls nowadays even provide priority parking or special autism-friendly shopping days for families of children with autism, which is definitely another plus. Now remember, preventative strategies are not the same as teaching strategies. While in this example, going during off-peak hours would definitely be helpful to your child, that may not always be feasible for you and your family to do all the time. We know that some families with children with autism are unable to leave the house without their child's favorite blanket or favorite toy, or even change the food they eat, all for fear of a meltdown. The reality is that change is a part of life, and while it is harder, it is more important to take the time to teach your child how to cope and desensitize to these changes than adapt the whole family's lives around the child's inflexibilities. This is why the preventative strategy is like a temporary solution while you continue to teach them the skill that they need to learn. Preventative strategy number 2, give predictability. In other words, tell your child in advance what is going to happen. Give them a heads up. For example, right now you're watching this video. Perhaps you're watching it on your computer or on your phone. Now imagine if someone came along and just shut down your computer right now. Or maybe when you were just a kid, your mom and dad just came over and switched off the TV just like that without warning you. Now how would you feel? Angry, annoyed, confused, surprised? That's what it feels like for children with autism almost every day when they are not given predictability before something happens. Predictability is even more important for children on the spectrum because of how some of them love and actually need routine and sameness. So a simple strategy you can start using at home is to give your child a heads up. A simple strategy called foreshadowing, or counting down the time they have left. Say starting from 10 minutes, then 5 minutes, then counting every minute down.
Okay, buddy, iPad is almost finished. Look, 1 more minute. Wow, great. Okay, buddy, 10 more seconds. 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, iPad's all finished. iPad, good listening.
Now, a child with autism may not always understand if someone just verbally tells them how much time there is left. So investing in a little kitchen timer you have around in your bag or having a timer on your phone can be very helpful to them as they can see the countdown visually too. Which brings us to our next point on visuals. Now let's talk visuals. Communicating upcoming changes to your child using visuals or pictures can be incredibly helpful. These can include visual schedules to help a child prepare for what is coming ahead. These can be daily, weekly, or even monthly calendars. Social stories. Now, social stories communicate to the child what is coming up and what they are expected to do. Visual rules. These remind the child what is expected of them in different settings and help set them up for success. Visual token boards. These can be paired with expected behaviors to proactively earn reinforcement. Additionally, could be the use of video models to again demonstrate to a child what is expected behaviors in this setting.
Hey buddy, let's watch a video. Sit down. Okay, let's practice. Sit down. Good listening. Here, let's play. Slinky and
Now, some parents have asked us, is that all really necessary? Isn't that quite a lot of work? My child can understand, except they just don't want to listen. First of all, as any parent who practices ABA at home would tell you, it is a lot of work. But the work is so worth it when you put the time and effort and you start to see the results. Moreover, most, if not all, the individuals with autism we've ever worked with, ranging from 2 years old to 28 years old, have always benefited immensely from visuals, especially when they have a language delay of some sort. Now imagine if you or I went to a foreign country and we couldn't speak the language there. We might feel lost, nobody understands us, and we don't understand them. Yet somehow we're able to locate the toilets and we somehow know where all the exits are. Why? Because we do not need to know the language to understand universal visuals. So use those visuals, it can make a world of difference. Now we'll go more detail on how to foreshadow, how to create and use visuals in our future series on teaching cooperation. So let's recap. In this lesson, we learned about preventative strategies, which are what you do beforehand to prevent a behavior from even happening. 90% of your energy. Number 1, simplify expectations. Look at ways you can set your child up to be successful by planning ahead and avoiding the kinds of places or things that would trigger your child's behaviors. Number 2, give predictability by foreshadowing, visual schedules, social stories, visual rules, token boards, or using video models. And don't forget, for all these strategies you're using, remember to reward your child. Preventative strategies will not be effective if your child is not rewarded for showing the behaviors you want. For example, if you counted down and your child listened when before they would have had a tantrum, reward them with their favorite snack. Or if you were going to a relative's house and had reminded your child via social story to say hi to their relatives, do reward them with a preferred item, a toy or playtime for doing so. All right, now it's your turn to put these strategies into practice. Remember those top 3 behaviors you were writing down? By now, you would have written not only those behaviors, but their possible functions as well as teaching strategies. Now look at each behavior and think of at least one preventative strategy you could employ to prevent that behavior from happening. You could have more than one as well. After all, a comprehensive behavior plan is successful because there are multiple strategies working at the same time. In the final lesson on Introduction to Managing Challenging Behaviours, we're going to talk about what parents ask us the most about. What do I do when the behavior happens? How do I respond? How do I calm him or her down?